else does. Okay, hi everybody. We are starting a new Bible study this evening. It's called Growing Older and Wiser, and it comes from the Life Guide Bible series. And we are on lesson 1, Wise Up. So this is all about getting older and being smarter. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so we start with James, first chapter of James, and I have to tell you, James is my favorite book of the Bible. If I have to pick one book, it's my favorite. Ask me why. I just like the way he writes. Oh my God. It is a very short. It's a very short book. There's 5 chapters, I think. So, yeah. Our first reading, and go for it.
James, a servant of God and of the Lord Jesus Christ, to the 12 tribes scattered among the nations. Greetings. Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work, so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously without finding fault, and it will be given to you. When you ask, you must believe and not doubt, because the one who doubts is like a wave of the sea, blown and tossed by the wind. That person should not expect to receive anything from the Lord. Such a person is double-minded and unstable in all they do. Believers in humble circumstances ought to take pride in their high position, but the rich should take pride in their humiliation, since they will pass away like a wild flower. For the sun rises with a scorching heat and withers the plant. Its blossom falls and its beauty is destroyed. In the same way, the rich will fade away even while they go about their business. Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because, having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love him.
At the beginning, it says, pain raises difficult questions. Why is this happening to me? Did I do something wrong? Is God angry with me? Have we all thought that this week? How long will this last? Should I pray for instant relief, or should I tough it out? When we hurt, what we want most is deliverance. God says that what we need most is wisdom. If we let God work his purposes, he will enable us to grow and mature through the difficulties that come into our life. So here's our first discussion question. What is the difference between being smart and wise? Well, don't just jump in, everybody. Go ahead. No.
It seems to me that you'd be smart to be a very intelligent person, but not having common sense or things like that.
My husband says that about me all the time.
You have no common sense?
Yeah, yes, that's what he says. Or he'll say, think about that for a minute. Oh, yeah, you're probably right.
Think high IQ or,
A genius,
what that's just maybe knows lots of facts.
Human experience and under reading people and there's like an emotional quotient, and there's an IQ, an emotional quotient, and I think there's it must be like a social quotient. How you read people and
To be wise.
to
be wise.
It can't just be IQ, it has to be.
I'm thinking of that as smart, meaning smart.
Yeah.
May have a high IQ.
Yeah,
That doesn't mean
exactly.
that you have wisdom.
Yeah.
Making sensible decisions. Being wise. Using your intelligence to interpret and understand and make the sensible decisions.
Sometimes being right. words being smart isn't necessarily the wise thing to do. Right? Sometimes you just gotta say, yeah, that's not worth it.
On paper, it might make sense, but,
And it might be right.
and it might be
It
right.
might be right 100 times, but
It's not wise.
maybe it's not wise.
It might not be wise.
Exactly. I put down here book versus street smarts.
Yep.
Right? But to me, that's the difference.
Yeah.
You know, you can be book smart about things, but it's not necessarily the wisest course of action. Okay, so personal reflection. So who is the wisest person you know or have known? And why do you think they were wise?
I always thought my dad was wise. Yeah,
Dads.
yeah,
Dads in
because
general.
he listened, and yeah, and because he'd hear you out, but then he'd help you make a good decision.
Did you ever feel dads were more patient than men? Oh, God. In a heartbeat.
Yeah, yeah.
And then because he was smart, because he didn't go past 8th grade. But, well, that doesn't mean he wasn't smart.
No.
I mean, you know, if you're thinking in terms of books,
Communication and all that stuff.
they're book smart.
So what's this here? Go. Let's get on the chair. You're fine. You're good. No, you're good.
No!
What was it? You're my bag. Sorry, don't mind that. How are you?
Well, I was sleeping.
I'm glad you woke up. What's the first question?
Yeah, the shortest answer too.
So you said dads. We were talking about dads, how we felt like dads were kind of smart people. In any other scenarios? Any others come to mind in your life? Like your aunt, maybe? Yeah? Well, I was thinking of my grandma. You've all heard stories about her. She was such a good listener. That's what I loved. That's what I always thought was so wise about her. She was never quick to tell you what to do and correct. Yeah. She always had a way of making me kind of figure it out for myself. And I thought I was the smart one. Right? Yeah, I know. Well, if I would listen, and I didn't always listen. Any other folks in your life? I always feel like my husband is kind of smart too, but wise sometimes. Sometimes we're wise together. Have you ever noticed that? Yeah. Sometimes I'm wise, and sometimes he's wise.
Yeah.
Oh, is everything okay? Okay.
Oh, Grandpa.
So continuing on, James, Jesus' half-brother, wrote that's the author of this book that we just read, wrote to persecuted Christians throughout the Roman Empire. He wrote before 50 AD that the church was still when the church was still very young. Believers barely knew what it meant to be Christian, and now they had to learn to be Christian in the truth. So we've already read this. So we're going to continue on. Yeah, are you ready? Now there's a whole bunch of questions here, so we can take our time to make our way through here. So keeping in mind the verses that we read, James writes that we should count it pure joy when we face trials of many kinds. That's what's in verse 2. What is your gut response to that input? How? Okay. Good one. Yeah. My comment will be really? That's third. Ugh. Did you say that really? That's a good one.
I like that one too.
Gut level, it said. Yeah, that's a gut level. Any others?
Well, I think that's how you learn, you know. Everything goes right. You know. Gold is refined by fire. If it's not. Wow.
Yeah.
No. It's read the best book. It was our book club book. Everybody here would love it. Seal of Golden.
Okay.
It was the best book. Seal of Golden.
Seal or seal?
Theo, Theo.
Like my grandson.
Theodore. Yeah, Theodore. It was because this guy was a listener and he listened to people, didn't treated them like, and he said, you are a remarkable person. I can see it in your eyes and what you do, you know, people that were disenfranchised, and it's just a wonderful book.
Okay.
So I highly recommend it. Yeah. We didn't have a lot of copies, but this is just what this is about.
Okay.
I mean, this
Timely.
is, I'm just,
Okay. So in verses 3 and 4, let's see. Okay, it says, how does James justify the words that he spoke in verse 2 about counting pure joy during trials of many kinds? So how does he justify what he said?
It develops faith, faith develops perseverance. Perseverance must finish its work.
So that you may be mature. Now that's isn't that a requirement for being wise?
Yeah.
Don't you think? Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay. Do you know young people who are wise?
Sure, some. Wise beyond their years.
Mm-hmm. I never thought about that. So perseverance.
A lot of times, those wise beyond their years have had adversities.
That's
And been through
That is very true.
many trials.
And
It's not been an easy life.
okay. So what is the connection between wisdom and perseverance?
Wisdom gives you good judgment. It helps you make sensible decisions.
How do you get wisdom?
Listening, patience,
Listening,
Persevering.
observation, studying, reading, listening, listening, watching.
Watching is good. Huh? How much time you spend over there just watching?
I think wisdom gives you the opportunity to look past the immediate. That's something that has to see further into the distance, and that brings about perseverance.
Maybe further into the past. Using the past.
Yeah, you have the experience.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's a good reason for it. I need to write that down. That was smart. That was wise.
Yeah. So another one of those things, and again, I know this one here.
Was. Economy immediate. That's something my grandmother would say. Just kidding. Don't get wrapped up in the. No, that's because it's easy to get wrapped up in the immediate, like the roof case and what are we going to do? But to think, back into the future, to know, okay, we will get past this, Yes, and let's think about how we're gonna get past this, and let's figure it out. So now,
Well, I think that's what happens. I think of young kids. Well, I'm not stepping on their toes.
yeah, okay.
Young people who commit suicide. They just can't see any further into the future than today or the next hour. You know,
something in the future.
they just can't see anything. And
That's
this
very true.
moment is the most horrible thing that I'm ever going to go through, and life's not going to be any better. And there you go. And so, yeah, and so, okay, I'm going to quit. So,
Perseverance.
Yeah, that's kind of the mystery of depression. You know, it's hard to understand the depths of that despair. It's hard to just imagine.
well, if we think about what we went through in COVID, you know, how you start to act or feel during the days we were confined, so to speak. All I could think of, you know, we've been confined for 5 years and you're worried about a couple of weeks. I mean, so,
Yeah, or thinking back to, what people went through during World War II. With the rationing of gasoline and sugar and, all of those things and the sacrifices that all of those people made
And the men being gone.
and then being gone. And sacrifices women made to pick up the pieces.
and don't you say at that time, everybody was kind of in the same boat, so some of those things, you know, it wasn't, what do I want to say, not a generation. Sure, the disparity in the haves and have nots. Right, yeah. It's kind of this
Equal.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of wisdom that came from that too. We can do this. We didn't choose to. Okay, so what is one thing that you have learned through difficult experiences?
That you can survive. And make it beyond.
It goes on.
Yeah. And you can learn great things.
I think of Larry that Sarah, her husband was in the hospital. They were elderly, but she used to say, well, you can't appreciate the mountaintop if you haven't been in the valley.
Or in the river. Or in the river. Yeah. Down the street without any control. Well, something else is one.
The way I'm looking at this is not working. Maybe I should
That's a good one.
try something
New
else.
perspective.
Try something else. Maybe that will make a difference.
Try something new.
Yeah.
Like a new Bible study. Right? That's good. Oh, I like that idea. Any others?
Wow, that's we're going to sit down at
The more the merrier, right? That's us. The more the merrier. Girl. Good. Sorry I'm late. I'm sorry. Time.
Oh, yeah. Why did we put a stop sign on Main Street?
Last
For that. Because
Jim, actually.
you aren't the only one.
During the day, during the week, you can't see it all.
You cannot.
because of the car, the car's cost.
It's ridiculous.
That's yours, sorry. You got to find out you want. I thought, if you want it. Okay, we're on page 10. So if you want to catch up with us, I've already paid. Do I pay? Yeah. That's not required. Okay, so we're on question 5. How do you describe a spiritual? Let me try again. How would you describe a spiritually mature and complete person? Now he lists that in verse 4, but that's kind of a simplified explanation, I think.
Yeah.
What do you think? What characteristics would you describe for somebody who's spiritually mature?
Somebody that sees beyond today.
Okay. What else? Calm and steady. Okay, got it.
Turn away from or ignore something that they need to face.
Oh, they face their problems. Okay.
Yeah.
What else?
It says they are.
Okay. I would add happy in most circumstances. They find good in almost everything. Oh, that's good. Willing to share. Maybe.
Willing to change or learn or
Okay.
do
She's
something
on the
different.
change team. Have you noticed? Willing to change. Okay, that's a good one. What else?
Non-judgmental.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, we're coming up with a good list. Okay, what else?
Someone who is a disciple, someone who goes out and you live your little life doing the things you're supposed to do and all of that stuff, but to go out and seek and tell others about what you know to be true.
Okay.
To not be afraid of that.
Okay. For someone who lives their faith. And how is it you and I'll just put it, use words if you have to. Yeah. Right? What else? Any others? That's a really good list. Kind of sounds like Jesus. Does it sound like Jesus? Okay. Sounds like we can't have any hope, right? Okay, 6. Do you think anyone gets to such a state of maturity in this life? God, that's what I would just say. I could write one of these. No. Is it possible to get to that state?
I think it's always evolving. We try to grow and be more like that. But we're never going to be perfect.
Oh, no.
We're never going to have it all figured out. Well, maybe you will. I think you should be satisfied. You should be wanting to learn, change.
That's what the perseverance comes in.
Yeah.
You never stop trying.
Yeah.
Well, the minute you stop trying, you're not here anymore.
Right.
Any other thoughts about that? I mean, clearly we've listed some people we thought were mature and wise, and
But even they aren't 100%.
you know,
Even, Teresa, she was, and nobody's perfect. Nobody's got it all figured out.
I would hope.
Yeah.
If we do, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Right? There'd be no point in doing Bible study, right?
No, because you'd be lying to yourself.
Exactly. And to everyone,
Yeah.
pretty much. Yeah, right? So in what spirit should believers pray for wisdom? Okay, so this is verses 5 through 8. You might read a little bit of this. If any one of you lacks wisdom, she or he should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to them. But when he or she asks, you must believe and not doubt, because Whoever doubts is like a wave of the sea, blown and tossed by the wind. That person should not think that they will receive anything from the Lord. They are a double-minded person, unstable in all they do. So in what spirit should we pray for wisdom?
Optimistic.
Okay. What other words? Well, that makes sense, I guess, right? And not doubting, right? Be open and listen. Ah, that's a good one. Because we all know that God answers our prayers just as we ask, right?
Expect an answer, but it doesn't mean necessarily the one you ask for.
Yeah. Willingness, probably. Yeah. Yeah. Any others? Sorry, I was reading a little more. I'm having fun writing all this down.
That's kind of what faith is.
Pray with faith, right? Okay, how would you define a double-minded person?
I wonder if it was a person that wavers, believing different things, facing the same kinds of situations.
Okay. What is that? What about someone who
Says one thing and
Yeah, being a hypocrite.
yes, says one thing and does the complete opposite, or expects other people to do the right thing, and they turn around and stab everybody else behind the back.
Make an impression on somebody, but they're not really that person.
Because to me, that's double-minded. That's like,
yeah.
I mean, it could be somebody who's like doing the things. I don't know how you think about that. Other thoughts about double-minded people?
I think I looked at that a little differently. I was thinking of people who couldn't decide if they thought they were going to get an answer to something they wanted, or if they already got the answer and they didn't like the answer. Sometimes you just
Okay, I Googled it.
You're not supposed to do that. Didn't you read the front? Yeah.
The concept, this is AI, so who knows. The concept of a double-minded man refers to someone with divided loyalties, caught between trusting God and doubting Him.
Well,
That this instability prevents a person from receiving wisdom or answers to prayer.
so in other words, if you don't have complete faith,
Yeah.
then you might find yourself not getting the answers that you
Yeah.
think you should be getting. Yeah, or even hearing the answers necessarily, right? Interesting. Okay, so all right, so we cheated a little. Forgive us.
Refer to any other resource.
No, that's okay.
We're looking for a definition.
You might want to have
Important. And we have quite a few here. We can choose. And understand double-minded. So maybe the word would be another word came to mind. I thought maybe uncommitted might be a better,
Yeah.
you
They
know,
said unstable. Yeah.
an uncommitted person that can't fully
Yeah.
commit, can't fully believe that it could possibly be true. Maybe. Okay, so a Christian who prays in difficult circumstances is bound to have fleeting thoughts such as, this won't work, or God won't answer me. There's that double-mindedness, right? Do you believe this is the sort of doubt to which James refers in verse 6 through 8? And it very well could be, right? The double-mindedness, the but I think we've all seen prayer work, right? In many circumstances. It doesn't always work the way we want it to.
Right.
Those are two different things. Yeah. Yeah. But sometimes when you, for instance, the thought comes to mind, I had a friend who was dying of cancer years ago, and we were all praying for healing. But we weren't being very specific about our prayers. The healing that came for her was not physical healing. It was emotional and spiritual healing. And those are very, she did get a lot of spiritual healing and a lot of emotional healing with her family and with friends and people she hadn't, and I think that was more important for her than actual physical healing. You don't want to be callous. We're all going to die. Question is, are you going to be right with your family, right with your friends, right with your God? Are you going to understand that journey that you have to take to get there? That's a hard one. Because not everybody, some people you feel like they never quite got there. They maybe never, and you wonder. I mean, I and you think, yeah, so this God, I believe God answers every prayer. It isn't always yes, like in verse Almighty. Right? Yes. Oh, yes, it doesn't always work that way. Sadly. Because we always think we know what's best. I guess that's where God is the wisest of all, right?
But is it sadly?
Maybe, I don't know. Sadly that we don't get everything. I don't think so.
It's what's best.
This world would be very boring if we had that. Right?
There'd be no playoffs,
Well, maybe someday when we get to heaven, it will all be that way, right? It'll be perfect. It will be perfect when we get there. That's there yet. Yeah. Okay, so what external or internal pressures tempt you to be double-minded? That's a tough one. No, it's not. Okay.
Just looking around the room, I'm in a little bit different situation than everybody else here. I'm for myself. Everything is on your shoulders.
Oh.
Yeah. Wretched house to take care of. Just gonna read up on my teeth, but it can burst you. It's stupid things like that, that come along.
That's not stupid though. That's a lot to deal with.
Why? Did you know what? Why? Did you have to do it?
Yeah.
They can't fix it for 7 months,
Well, then it must be not as serious as they thought.
Well, that's what they tried to tell me, you don't know which one is going to burst into fire, so going to happen.
That's a little scary.
So you pray, there's a lot of prayer homes, and you have the fire extinguisher there. It said you pray that it isn't gonna happen until, and that the recall will be taken care of, and you're prepared with a fire extinguisher there.
Just in case.
And don't lock the door so you can bail out. But on deeper the door. So life in general. The responsibilities of life.
If you listen to the news or the people that are on the news,
Oh,
there's a lot of things there.
they really get in the way, don't they?
Yeah, you could really do all these different things and really sway you one way or the other if you were in that position. Just like, that you can hear on the
Even if you're not,
Yeah.
it's really hard to hear it over and over and over and over again. Yeah, I don't even listen to it anymore. I haven't listened to it for almost a year. And oh, it's been 5 years since we've turned on the network news. Do not miss it. I don't miss it at all. Not even one little bit. No. It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It's
Shut
much
it.
better without
It's
that
not,
weight.
we need to be aware, but if it's that, you just,
Mhm.
it's not to watch.
Yeah.
I always think there must be something very important, and I need to know. And most likely, one of their watching in case there's something.
Yeah.
I haven't done that yet.
It's like watching the weather, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that part. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like have you ever watched the guys when they, like there's a tornado warning or a severe thunderstorm, right? And they'll be on for few. Oh my God, you people better get down in your basement and blah blah blah. It's like they live and they take their jackets off and their sleeves. Young people literally to death. Holy cow.
They're looking at each other saying, now what can we talk?
Yeah. Or my favorite is when they predict the snowstorm of the century. Exactly, yeah. Snowstorm of the century, guess what? It doesn't God, people scared to death. They don't even want to go out of their houses. Yeah. I mean, their kids in school 3 days in Indiana. They can't do that. Yeah, no, they did. You've got to be kidding me. And then it doesn't happen. It's like, okay, you guys don't look very smart. They can be wrong 100% of the time and still do a good job. I know that. You just have to be really wise and smart about it. I don't understand that with all the models. Exactly. Instead of this and this model. I know. Really, just one thing. There's one where I will think of every job. Yeah, that is great. Much better to do that. I totally agree. Okay, turning the page. Verse 12 promises a heavenly reward for those who persevere. What benefits does perseverance also provide in this life? You don't give up. You mean accomplish something? Yeah. Persevere. Right. Reach the goal. Yeah. What? Tomorrow's a new day. Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's a good one. I think, that seems very trite, but it's not. No. Go to sleep and get up and say, it's a new day to start all over. Isn't what baptism is all about? That's what baptism is all about, right? And communion. Isn't that why we take communion? It's like, come on, it's a new day. Any other thoughts about that? Hope. Right? It gives you a better outlook, I think. Right?
Just faith that there will be a better day.
Well, there has to be a better beginning. There has to be. So what trials is God using right now to build your perseverance? That might be a more personal question. Yeah,
There you go.
yeah. Because it's probably going to be at least 2 years.
Are these that short ministers? Oh, yes.
Oh, they're short ministry. Well, you've seen what Catholic Church has done. I mean, they're not even giving them a choice now. They've got priests serving 10 different congregations, 10 different parishes.
Is that what they're going to do with all of us?
I don't know.
We're going to lose everybody.
I don't know. That I don't know the answer to.
I really, I did that. I thought the Catholics would have been the last ones that had
Yes.
any disease. I really did.
Yes. I felt that too. I felt that too. I thought that was a long time coming. Yeah. Yeah, the Catholic Church is they are struggling right now.
Yeah. Anne said we walked today. They had a meeting yesterday about the music and all that stuff. And from Mason City, we're down, and they brought a contingent of people from there and a contingent of people from Hampton. And after they talked, she was a little more hope, a little more hopeful about things would work out because it's upsetting.
Oh, it's horribly upsetting. You can't even imagine.
Oh, yeah, they go, they do Bethlehem.
Oh,
Missouri Synagogue. Oh,
no.
He was talking about that.
Yeah.
Ballhaven did his funeral at Bethlehem House. And then I found out that he was.
Oh,
wow. And I think they have an assistant up there.
Well, they have a vicar.
And I think they must have a vicar up there too, because he's a second person.
Missouri Synod is pretty strict about who does funerals and who does weddings and baptisms. Oh, I'm sure. No, it's a fact of life. It's going to be a while, and it will be. You guys are going to have to persevere. You're going to have to.
This is basically out in the rural areas, so it's like that.
Oh no, it's all over. In fact, I think sometimes urban settings are actually struggling more. I mean, there's like, for instance, in Waterloo, they closed First Lutheran in Waterloo 5 years ago. First Lutheran in downtown Waterloo. And they've closed, there are at least 3 churches I know of in Waterloo that are without pastors, Lutheran churches, and they have such small congregations and they're not willing to even consider
Just go into one building.
or have one pastor serve multiple. They're not even willing to even consider doing it. So you talk about change, right? About how we need to see the world in a different way if you're going to find a solution to that answer.
Yeah, the mega churches.
But Church of Hope, of course, is a Lutheran church. And I'm thinking of other kinds of non-denominational.
So
get more people where.
exactly. So I'm going to start you on this last question, and I got to pop out. All you guys have to do is remember to turn it off and put it in Kim's office and close the doors. Okay?
Push the red button.
Yep, press the red button. So, how would you like to respond to those trials in a more mature way? Okay, so thinking about the new pastor situation, what's the immature response? Oh my gosh, what are we gonna do? Right? But when we consider that the immature response, the mature response is, or a more mature response would be, well,
Not behave like we did the last time.
I would agree with you. I totally agree with you.
And gather information.
Yes.
Gather information.
And be on the ball. I mean, be prepared for the possibility that you might have to share. different way, a more creative way.
You don't want to change.
I know, I know, I know, I know.
To our center. And that, there were 4 meetings that were introduced last weekend at the ABC3 citizen meeting. And they're going to be going into it. It's a 2-year program. They do everything except weddings and natural baptism and communion. They can do funerals. From what I understand, so they're thinking of alternative ways of how they're going to get married. I mean, you got to find another minister somewhere to marry him.
But you can go online and do that.
Yeah,
So,
you can.
yeah, my son did.
And yours? I was thinking a while ago about trails, just beautiful trails. Yeah. Kirsten, my granddaughter, they had just moved to Missouri. They had lived in Nevada their entire married life and had 3 kids. And his job has taken him to Missouri. And she was devastated. I mean, she didn't want to go. This is a trial that she's having because she had a lot of friends. She had a Bible study. They had a church. And they were very happy. So he gets this promotion. That means you move whatever this promotion is. It's the same company, but it's in Missouri. And so now, I mean, she didn't want to go. She didn't want to. She thought this, but she had to go. And they're here now. The first place they went was Plan Church. The first place, I mean, after they got their house, they had their house. But they had to be Plan Church because that was one place that she met a lot of people and had a lot of friends in that church that they were huge to our Stanford Redeemers, which is a non-denominational church. But they went there the whole time. They were very happy because but now they had to go find a new church and new friends. Because, it's kind of odd because, he works, he's a lot of other things, Kirsten is there's a lot of kids. And, the neighbors like close by now, and she had neighbors before, and she had friends. So, that's her trial. She's going to right now, and she's just got to persevere with that, because it's going to be hard for a while. And she gets to know she had no family. They got here too. There's nobody. They go in the house up in the country almost. I mean, the neighbors, you see them when they're somewhere. I don't know if they got any kids or not. And, they're about to run down the road till somebody's house. So it's not the ideal situation, but I'm hoping that she can get through this. How old are the kids? First thing was when he was a kindergarten. He'll start school down here. And then the other one is 24. And the little girl was just 1.
So she'll maybe meet some.
I'm hoping that she's
People,
yeah. We had a church where she had a Bible study there in Amos that she went to all the time. She loved it. And kids go to school, maybe she'll meet because the whole part will be in preschool too. So, but I'm hoping this church churches will see her. They've been to one twice. They've been out for 2 studies. So we've been to the same one twice. So so we'll just see how that goes. She's always been on EDS, 3 girls, not 3 kids. And so they moved from the mother's side to be closer to her and and so now she's and so my mother and father kind of devastated too. They're going through that too. So yeah, it's just it'll be all right eventually. She'll get it. It's just gonna be hard for her for a while. And I think, I see a lot more of our grandparents move closer to their kids, you know, to be close to the grandkids anymore. You know, so a lot of them, they're ready to retire and then they're, they do that.
Sometimes it's, kids are too busy. You want to see them, but
Yeah, that's true. You have to go live where they're at, so you can do. And then you think, okay, when they're all done, we're out of school. But that's another whole change. Too, you know, if you're, you know, grandkids are all graduated, you know, they don't have to do
do you read the rest of it? It says, pray that you will trust God to work out his purposes in any trials you are now experiencing. Boldly ask for joy in the certainty that he is using your problems to make you a more mature Christian.
What do you especially need wisdom? Where do you especially need wisdom from the Lord? Draw yourself a small raft riding on wind-tossed ocean waves. Label the waves, and if appropriate, the raft in the spirit of James 1:5. Write a prayer for wisdom. Draw yourself again, this time in a sturdy boat on a placid body of water. And if you dislike boats, draw yourself.
Yeah, those are good readings to follow up,
Yeah.
you know, you both in your own. But these messages to go with it.
Push the button, Marcia.
Hmm?
Push the button.
I don't know what button she
Right, that's red.
You only saw up in there.
Bye, everybody.
Maybe I can hold it.
Period.
And there's one. I don't know if I'm supposed to go that way.
Usually you just
It's the arrow. The arrow's going this way.
it looks like
It's going that way.
usually you just push it.
Stop taking video.
There you go.